Yo, chat, you don't know who it is. It's your boy, I'm that guy, and today I am back with a new video. How a slice of ham sent this scammer to prison, chat. Let's just get into it.
After buying 2 Rolexes, a gold bracelet, and a massive diamond pinky ring, Prince Khalid of Saudi Arabia hopped on a private jet to New York.
Chat, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I ain't gonna lie. This bro don't look like a prince to nobody. He don't look like a prince to nobody.
He had his limo drop him off at the Four Seasons Hotel, where he rented out the entire top floor. Then,
okay, oh shit, maybe you are.
He ordered room service, but his meal was rudely interrupted by a loud knock at the door.
Open up, Prince. You're coming with us.
Before he even had time to think, 2 men busted the door down. They beat the shit out of the prince, forced him into a car, and took him back to the airport. Luckily, he was able to slip away and alerted the police that he'd been kidnapped by 2 men with guns. But the cops never arrested the men. Instead, it was the prince himself who would end up in jail. It turns out, Khalid wasn't exactly a prince. In fact, he wasn't even Arab. He was a con man from Michigan named Anthony Gignac.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He don't even look Arab, bro. Like, I'm looking at his nose right now. I'm like, brother, this is not. You don't look anywhere. You don't look any type of Arab.
Who spent most of his life pretending
see the distinctive nose. See the chat. You be acting like I don't know shit, bro. I know shit. I see this nose right here. I see the little thing they got going on with the mustache and shit. I know how they look, bro. Got the little that nose, that snars gives them away. This shit, hell nah.
Be a member of the Saudi royal family. Over the course of 30 years, he stole millions of dollars while posing as Prince Khalid. The 2 men who kidnapped him were actually bounty hunters tasked with bringing him back to Miami so he could face justice for his many, many crimes. This is the story of the Prince of Fraud.
You know what it is. We shut the pools down so that a boss can swim in private. You know what it is. You know what it is. You know what it is. It's taking off.
Chat, you know what it is, man. Should that be my new catchphrase? You know what it is?
$300,000 bathroom.
He don't even sound like he speaks Arabic.
2016 Maserati. Magnificent resort for Louis Vuitton bag.
Come on, bro. How you getting fooled by this man? He sounds like a damn like he's from New England, brother. What?
Magnificent suite. Yeah, no faking here.
Hey. 1970. Anthony was born Jose Moreno in the slums of Bogota, Colombia. And to say this man had a rough childhood is an understatement. Jose and his brother Daniel run away from home after watching their father kill their younger brother because he couldn't afford to feed 3 children.
I quintessentially don't understand what goes through a person's mind. I literally don't understand.
For the next 2 years, the boys did whatever they could to survive. Jose even had to resort to selling his body just to feed his brother.
I ain't gonna lie, I'll starve to death. I am not doing that, bro. I know he was in a tough situation, but chat,
It was all before the age of 6, by the way. This is all coming from Gignac.
That shit isn't chat. Earth is such a cesspool of just degenerate shit.
Himself, he's not exactly the most truthful guy, so take it with a grain of salt.
Oh, okay. So he's just capping up for the sob story. Cause I was like, dude, yo, booty at 5.
Thankfully,
I wouldn't even at 5 years old. I wouldn't even perceive that as something that people do.
After 2 hard years on the streets, the Moreno brothers were adopted by Nancy and Jim Gignac, who renamed Jose to Anthony. Now, there's no doubt that life in the suburbs of Michigan is a lot better than being a homeless child slave, but life was still pretty tough for young Tony. He was bullied relentlessly in school for being a chubby brown kid, and he didn't have a lot of friends. So he spent most of his time watching television, specifically a show called Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous is a jet-set romp to the luxury playgrounds of the world with all the big winners. Take off with us on an unforgettable journey to the ultimate sweet life.
This show kicked off Anthony's obsession with wealth, power, and fame. An obsession that would go on to consume his entire life. Anthony started his long career of grifting in the 6th grade. One day his mom got a call from the local car dealership.
Hi, we're just calling to let you know that the Princess Mercedes is ready.
Apparently, Tony tricked the dealership into believing he was a Saudi prince and his dad, the king, would pay for the car later. They even let him test drive it and everything. Did I mention he was 12 years old? It was at this...
Dude, I feel like people want to be like, oh, these young kids don't know shit. These young kids don't know shit. Back in the day, bro, y'all really just didn't know like right from left. A 12-year-old came up to you and said, I am the prince of Saudi Arabia and my dad's gonna play it later. Are you retarded?
At this point that Tony's parents realized there was something seriously mentally wrong with him. So they sent
What do you mean mentally wrong with him? He's 12. Lying and scamming. That's what all 12-year-olds do.
him to therapy, but it didn't really help too much. He spent most of his teen years in mental institutions until the age of 17 when he ran away from home. But luckily for Anthony, a nice Arab family took him in. Not a
Damn. What an actual turn of events.
out of the kindness of their hearts or anything, but because Tony threatened them. He told the family that he was Saudi royalty, and if they didn't let him stay at their house, he would send his father's secret police after them. Luckily
Oh my gosh.
for them, he wouldn't stay long because he would soon be arrested for impersonating Adnan Khashoggi, a Saudi arms dealer who happened to be the richest man in the world at the time.
Damn, the richest man in the world? An arms? Oh, well, that makes sense. Back in the 1970s, everyone was killing everyone.
A lifestyle of heroic excess
Shit really
is
hasn't
matched
changed
only
now.
by the zeal of the global press to explain this mysterious mogul whose name and face appear in headlines across the world.
That's so crazy that his picture appears everywhere, but still not a single person knows who he looks like.
After his first of many arrests, Tony fled Michigan and went to California. He figured that if he could fool actual Arab people, scamming white people would be even easier.
That's what I'm saying. He don't even have an Arabic accent, and he's out here like, I'm like I don't even know.
He was right. For the
He doesn't
next
even
few
speak
years,
Arabic.
Anthony would grift his way across America, wearing designer clothes, riding around in limos, eating prosciutto. This man was truly living the lifestyle of the rich and famous. So how did he do it? Well, it was actually quite simple. He would convince people he was a Saudi prince. They would give him free stuff. Eventually, they caught on to his scheme and he would go to jail. And then he would move to a different city and repeat the whole thing all over again.
Welcome back to Lifestyles of the
Actually sounds like a
Criminally
good
Insane. Today's episode, Anthony Gignac. Anthony earned the nickname the Prince of Fraud after years of impersonating Saudi Arabian Prince Khalid Al Saud. In
You see, like, there is no resemblance.
1991, while posing as the prince, he spent a whopping $10,000 on limousines and luxury hotels.
I feel like everyone, like, dude, back in those days, bro, I feel like just lying, like, people just accepted everything as the truth. Lying to people was just so easy. It's not like it's not easy now, but just lying to people is just so a 12-year-old walks up to you and says, I am the Prince of Saudi Arabia. Give me this car.
Using his silver
Are you
tongue,
stupid?
he was also able to con Rodeo Drive shopkeepers out of a set of Louis Vuitton luggage and a rare coin collection. Impressive for a man with a bowl cut. After a 4-day spending spree, his limousine turned into a cop car and his 5-star hotel into a jail cell. But prison didn't stop the prince for long. His next destination was San Francisco, where he stayed at the world-famous Ritz-Carlton for 2 months under Prince Khalid's name. Unfortunately, his trip was cut short by yet another trip to the penitentiary. But his most cunning act of degeneracy would happen in 1993, where he would check into Hawaii's finest beachside resort, and because of the prince's exquisite tastes, he quickly racked up a $20,000 bill. Lucky for him, he was able to pay off his balance by selling an imaginary oil field to another hotel guest. This man...
Dude, I feel like people back in those days just didn't deserve money. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the responsibility way too much. This random person comes up to you talking about, I'm the prince of wherever the fuckville, and just give me money? Are you sick?
truly has no shame.
Does he have shame? Because who are you to say he has no shame? He knows what he's doing. He knows he's a liar. He knows he's a con artist. He's not delusional to think like, oh, I am the actual prince of Saudi Arabia. He knows what he is. But it's something else to... I don't blame some of these people for not seeing through his facade. Especially back in those days when basically the only people you saw was the people that lived in your neighborhood. But at the same time, come on, bro.
You get the idea. It went on and on and on like this for years. This guy's like my ex-girlfriend. No matter how many times he got caught, he still kept sleeping with my Uncle Ruben. I mean, still kept committing fraud. Gignac's reign of terror finally came to an end when he was arrested again in Chicago for scamming $50,000 worth of shitty, overpriced clothing from Saks Fifth Ave. Man, this guy's a real putz. Can you imagine having your identity stolen? Well, I hate to break it to you, but it's probably happening right now. So on the internet, there's these people called data brokers who buy your personal
Yeah, I'm a data broker, chat.
And sell
What you gonna do about it? Subscribe if you don't want me to steal your internet information. I will definitely steal your information and sell it to Google or something. I don't know.
Now, Tony had been in trouble before, but this was like his 27th offense, so they wanted to make an example out of him. He knew he needed a good lawyer if he was going to get out of this.
I'd better call Saul.
So he called up Johnny Cochran, you know, the guy who got OJ off?
Oh. Are you dead ass? He called the legend himself?
It doesn't fit. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
Now, the crazy thing is, Cochran actually met with him, but refused to take his case because...
Oh, yeah, because he was smart and didn't realize he's not,
of, quote, questions about authenticity. All right, well, he...
Obviously, he's smart and realizes this man is not a...
couldn't have the best. So he had to settle for one that was dumb enough to actually take his case. So he reached out to this guy, Oscar Rodriguez. Khalid convinced this guy that he actually was the prince, and that if Oscar took his case, he would make him the royal family's personal attorney in the United States. Now,
that dude said, man, I'm not retarded. I'm defending you from scamming people from thinking that you're the prince. I know you're not the prince. Other dude said, you know what?
Oscar wasn't actually dumb. His gut was telling him that this guy was full of shit. But
proven otherwise,
even if there's a 2% chance that this dude was actually a Saudi prince, he didn't want to risk passing up that opportunity.
Are you like this dude his words must sound like sugar to the ears, because the way people just eat up everything he says is insane.
You're telling me there's a chance.
It's like when you're on a dating site and the 10 out of 10 messages you know there's a 99.99% chance that she's a whale, but you still got to take the risk. Oscar paid Khalid's bail, which came out to $50,000.
Yo, like, at this point, you really don't deserve he didn't scam you, bro. He really didn't scam you. It's like you defending a thief and then the thief's telling you, all right, bro, if you just give me this money, I promise you I'll double it and give it back to you. Are you stupid?
On the condition that the royal family would pay him back within 24 hours. Obviously, the money never came, so Oscar had to take the prince back to jail. That's when Khalid got a brilliant idea. He told Oscar to take him to the nearest American Express office. And 30 minutes later, this mother sucker actually walked out with a credit card with a $200 million line.
Dude, I feel like back in the day, if you weren't scamming, were you even trying, bro? Were you even doing anything? Back in the day, what is hard work, bro? What is hard work, even? It makes me think like you stupid if you think you just working hard. Why don't you just lie? Why don't you just lie and lie and lie? Because it seems like lying has no consequence.
Line of credit. You gotta remember, this was the 90s, okay? It's not like today where you gotta solve 32 puzzles, send in a sample of your blood, and sacrifice your firstborn just to check your fucking Yahoo Mail account. Gignac wasted no time using up that line of credit. After paying Oscar back, he went on possibly one of the most unhinged shopping sprees in history. I'm talking Rolexes, jewelry, fine art, extra guac at Chipotle. This man spared no expense. Any suspicions that Oscar had up until this point completely vanished. Until he got a phone call from American Express.
Hey man, we fucked up. He's not a prince. You need to stop him before he blows through the entire 200 million.
Too late. Actually, too fucking late, my guy. Why were you just giving credit to random people?
Oscar was shitting his absolute pants at this point because he let Tony get on a plane to New York. If that guy fled the country, Oscar Rodriguez would look like the biggest schlemiel ever. So he sent 2 bounty hunters to New York to capture the prince and bring him back.
They're actual bail bondsmen, but they basically do the same thing.
To Miami. They were able to track him down pretty easily. He wasn't exactly subtle. The man rented out an entire floor of the Four Seasons. After roughing him up a little bit, the bounty hunters brought Tony to LaGuardia Airport.
Why would you need to
One of them
rough
went
me
to
up?
take a
All you
shit,
need to-
while the other one got in line to buy tickets on the next flight out. And then he gets swarmed by a bunch of police officers. One of them was pointing a shotgun directly at his head. Turns out Tony was able to give him the slip, and then he started running around the airport screaming hysterically,
I've been kidnapped. If any of my loyal subjects are here, call the Saudi embassy and CNN.
Luckily, the cops didn't shoot them on sight, and the bounty hunters were able to prove that they were in fact not kidnapping the prince. But they couldn't risk putting him on a plane anymore, or he might parachute out and disappear DB Cooper style. So they rented a car, threw Gignac in the trunk, and drove 20 hours straight to Miami. The prince was screaming the entire way there. Now, you guys are probably wondering, how the shit was this mother sucker able to keep getting away with this? How did he keep getting access to these bank accounts and credit cards?
It says Khalid bin Al-Saud. It's not in Anthony Gignac's name.
Anthony Gignac is not my name. I actually legally changed my name to Khalid bin Al-Saud. My social security number is Khalid bin Al-Saud.
He doesn't even have an Arabic accent. What the hell are you? Have you ever heard one like? What makes you think? What?
My college transcripts, Khalid bin Al-Saud. My naturalization immigration records, Khalid bin Al-Saud. That nails it down to who? Khalid bin Al-Saud.
That's why your scam's so good.
It's not a scam.
So he was able to gain access to Khalid Al-Saud's accounts because he was Khalid Al-Saud. That was his legal name, and he had the documents to back it up. It was actually genius. Unfortunately, not genius enough to keep him out of jail. He was sentenced to 4 years in a slammer. Then he had another 3 years added on top of that when he tried to break out of prison in the most hilarious way possible. He lit his jail cell on fire and covered the floor in shampoo in the hopes that the guards would slip and he could make an escape. His second escape attempt was also foiled when his makeshift rocket failed to get him over the prison fence. When Anthony got out of prison, he decided he was going to change. Not like he was going to stop being a criminal or anything, he was just going to be a better criminal. He was tired of constantly getting locked up and wanted to live the life of a prince for longer than just a few weeks at a time. But he realized he couldn't do it alone. When it came to getting people to believe his bullshit, Tony was brilliant. But when it came to the business side of things, he was missing a few chromosomes. So he needed somebody that could provide the legitimacy and business savvy that he lacked. Preferably someone with a British accent. That's where this guy, Carl Martin Williamson, comes in. A London-born banker with tons of connections to wealthy people, aka tons of rich schmucks who were begging to get ripped off. Soon after meeting, the two of them would go into business together, and Carl started up Martin Williamson International. The prince made this announcement on LinkedIn.
My friend and business partner Carl has created a new company. Martin Williamson International will assist all people in helping them to protect their assets from what is going on in the world and bring new business ideas to many of the Fortune 500 companies on behalf of its clients.
Whatever the fuck that means. Now, Carl was almost as good at bullshitting as the prince himself. He attracted investors to his new company by claiming that he knew Khalid for 20 years and showed them documents proving that the prince had over $2 billion in assets. But what were they investing in? Or I should say, what did they think they were investing in?
It dwarfs all other oil companies. Saudi Aramco produces over 10 million barrels of crude a day. That's 1 in 10 of every barrel
Their
consumed
scam was
around
more
the world.
more
more than the likes of
sophisticated than
Exxon,
I
BP,
thought.
and
I thought he was just going around saying, "I'm Khalid bin Al Saud," and then people were like, "He must be. He's brown." Are you retarded?
Now it's set to claim a new record, the biggest IPO in the world ever. It's the cornerstone
Are
of
you
Saudi Arabia's
retarded?
reform plan, Vision 2030.
Every brown person is every other brown person. They all look alike. They must be the same.
Saudi officials expect
Are you stupid?
Aramco to be valued at $2 trillion.
Saudi Aramco is the 6th largest company on the planet by market cap.
W.
Carl told investors that they would be able to buy Aramco stock before it was set to go public. In just a few
Damn.
short months, 26 people invested $8 million to get in on that action. Now, for most normal people, $8 million would be enough to retire on. The prince could have put his ill-gotten gains into an offshore
He could have
account.
retired based off the damn credit, the credit line he got from damn wherever goofy ass bank.
And disappeared to some tropical island somewhere. But it wasn't about the money for him. I mean, it
He got
sort
from
of
the
was,
damn
but not
Lehman
really.
Brothers or some
It was
shit.
mostly about being known, being respected, being seen, which is probably why he was constantly showing off his wealth on Instagram. This guy posted on Instagram more than a white woman who just started going to the gym. Luxury cars, Rolexes, piles of cash, Rolexes on top of piles of cash. Even his fucking dog had a diamond collar. Now, the gram wasn't just about being flashy. It also added more credibility to his rich Saudi persona, which is why between the jewelry and hotels, he would also post pictures of actual Saudi royals that he claimed to take himself. This facade of wealth combined with Carl's business expertise was enough to trick even the savviest business person. Not me, though. I would never fall for that dumb shit. Carl and
That's what I'm saying. I feel like because I'm seeing it from the outside, I'm seeing it. I'm like, man, I won't fall for that stupid ass shit. Like, you don't even look like how you supposed to look. But in bro, honestly, I feel like, I don't know, bro. I'm just paranoid about everything. I don't know if I would fall for it.
Prince were riding
I don't
high
think
after
so.
their whole IPO scheme, so they decided to set their sights on a new target, Jeff Soffer. He's a billionaire who inherited a real estate empire from his dad, Don, who just so happened to be featured on an episode of Tony's favorite show.
Don Sofa, the man who stays
Damn.
in control at work and play, envisioned an ultimate lifestyle, built it, called it home.
The crown
The
jewel.
phones
of the
back then was some shit else, boy. He had a whole antenna, a satellite.
Soffer family was
Talking
the
about
Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami.
Welcome to the historic Fontainebleau Miami Beach. Back in the day, you couldn't swing a martini glass here without hitting Elvis, the Red Pack, or anybody who was anybody.
This place is so fancy that they actually shoot homeless people with sniper rifles if they get within 100 feet of the building. But despite its prestige, the Fontainebleau had been in debt for years.
insane.
So when Jeff got a call from a Saudi prince who wanted to give him a bunch of money, he was pretty excited. So the two of them started hanging out, and Soffer even brought the prince to his home in Aspen to talk business. There's actually a video of them on a private plane together. See, there's Jeff and there's Carl Williamson. This trip would be the beginning of the end of the Prince of Fraud. See, Jeff had been secretly running a background check on the prince, and his people were calling around. Somehow, Tony got word of this, and when he heard, he was outraged. He started throwing a huge fit and told Soffer that the deal was off. Jeff started panicking. He was about to lose out on the deal of the lifetime, he thought. But then, Carl told him perhaps the prince would be willing to reconsider if he gave him an amazing gift. That's when Jeff bought him this disgustingly gauche Cartier bracelet. After that, the two of them were best buds again. Jeff even invited Tony to a fancy dinner to see if they could smooth things over and if the deal could continue. That's when the prince made his fatal mistake. He ordered an appetizer with prosciutto. Jeff thought to himself, wait a minute, pork? That's haram. Then he started going,
Damn! How did you mess that up? You soul, bro. Pork? Out of all the things? Dog, holy shit, bro. Chat, this is why you never supposed to eat pork, bro. This is why you don't eat pork. You anytime you eat pork, now you're missing out on millions and millions of dollars.
alcohol,
Haram.
gambling.
Haram.
Now here's the thing, Arab royals are known to partake in plenty of sinful activities in private, but they would never be this brazen as to advertise it to the entire world. It's honestly shocking that it took him that long to figure it out. In fact, it's insane that all these people were so easily fooled by this chubby, gay Latino man who spoke with an American accent and couldn't string together a full sentence in Arabic.
I was literally thinking
I guess
that.
it's hard to see when you have giant dollar signs in your eyes. There's
Really
probably
is.
a lesson in here somewhere, but
Bro,
I don't really care.
it really
Anyways,
is.
Jeff knew that the prince was full of shit at this point, but he needed proof. He needed hard evidence. So he told his private investigator to investigate privately. He got a call back 5 minutes later confirming everything. Jeff alerted the State Department and the FBI. But
Man, you
Tony
such a
was already
fucking
long
snitch.
gone by that point. London, Paris, Hong Kong, Dubai.
Waited in my Ferrari. Yeah, you know what we do.
This guy was
You know what we do? That's the prince? You know what we do? Damn.
in the world living his best life. Meanwhile, the feds were building a case against him. They raided his penthouse in Miami and seized $500,000 worth of high-end jewelry, artwork, cash, and even an autographed picture of Muhammad Ali. When Tony finally
Damn.
got back to the US, feds swarmed him before he even got off the plane, and they switched his diamond bracelets for a pair of stainless steel ones. He was charged with wire fraud, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and aggravated identity theft, which I guess is like regular identity theft, but angrier. As for his business partner, Carl Williamson, the FBI raided his home as well and charged him as a co-conspirator for the whole Saudi Aramco IPO scheme. Facing the possibility of years in prison, Carl hanged himself in his house.
What? Are you sick? Why would you do that?
Facing the possibility of years in prison, Carl hanged himself in his house. The prince later was found guilty on all charges and sentenced to 18 years in federal prison. And even though this was
damn.
like his 714th time getting locked up, this time was different. In a sort of screwed up way, he got what he wanted. Sure, he might not have the riches anymore, but he's certainly famous.
I'm saying, I wouldn't do that. I would not do that. But chat, you know what it is, man. If you like the video, make sure to like, subscribe, follow, and maybe one day we can all scam our way to the top. All right, maybe we can scam our way to being one of the top YouTubers in this world. And by the time they figure it out, damn, it will be too late. All right, so if you want to join in on this top 10 pyramid scheme, make sure to subscribe so you can be the top 10%, the echelon. So when the rest of the grubs come in, we just feed.